Hello, everyone. This is Gail, and welcome today to Overcoming the Obstacles. I'm really excited to bring this to you today. Believe it or not, we are going to be talking about famous people who overcame challenges. Now, I have to tell you, this is probably the number one requested repeat segment that we have ever done here on Overcoming the Obstacles. And I think that speaks to the interest a lot of people have in famous people who overcame the impossible to be able to achieve. Now, what does this mean for the rest of us? Well, it means that we can look to these stories and we can be inspired because there are times that we need encouragement. And I think that looking at these folks, we're going to be receiving some of that. So, famous people who overcame the obstacles. We are going to start with looking at Hilary Swank. Yes, indeed. Hilary Swank had some pretty big obstacles to overcome. Can you all guess what it might be? If so, I want you to leave that down in the comments. And by the way, if you haven't subscribed yet, now would be a great time to do that. Just click that red subscribe button. Now, we are joined today by Melanie, so welcome. It is good to see you. Okay, so the first person that we are going to be talking about today is Hilary Swank. Now, we don't think of Hilary Swank as being homeless, but yet she lived in her car. Now, this is according to thethings.com, celebrities that overcame homelessness. So she was an aspiring actress in Hollywood, but yet she was homeless at one time and had to live out of her car. Out of her car. And yet she achieved big things in movies like Million Dollar Baby, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, also big things. But she and her mom had to stay at a friend's house at night, and they didn't even have a bed to sleep on. They had to bring their own mattresses because the house was under construction. So she lived like this. Yeah, isn't that amazing, Melanie? And Peter Parker's in. So hi, Peter Parker. Yeah, living out of her car, and she went on. She took a hiatus for a little while, but yet she's still one of the most widely recognized names in Hollywood. And, then she finally made it big. So I think there's a lot to say about, not judging people that are in those circumstances, but maybe not even judging ourselves when we're in difficult circumstances, because clearly, she went on to bigger and better things, and even the Buffy the Vampire series, once she broke into that, that's not a series we necessarily associate with her even today. But she went on to do lots of TV films, lots of big budget, big screen movies. So, yeah. Does that surprise you all? To find out that she was homeless? It did me. I've got to say that. So what else have we got here? How about Madame Curie? Do we want to talk about Madame Curie for just a minute? So Madame Curie was the first woman to win the Nobel Prize, but we're talking about a time she was born in the 1860s. So this is just right after the U.S. Emerged from the Civil War. Women didn't have the right to vote yet. A lot of women, at least in the U.S., couldn't even own property. So she was born in Poland. 5 kids in the family. 5 kids. Which a lot of those things would be marked against her because, in general, women weren't educated during this time. But her family believed in education. And because they believed in education, they wanted their daughter educated. So the rest literally is history. She wound up majoring in chemistry and biology, went on to Paris, studied at the Sorbonne, learned French, threw herself into her studies, met her husband Pierre Curie, and at that time he was chief of the lab at the School of Physics and Chemistry and was already a renowned chemist in his own right. And so rather than being threatened by having a wife that was also brilliant, he encouraged her, and she pursued her studies in reactivity, and she discovered polonium and radium. And that went on to change the course of time. But yeah, for she and her husband, for their discovery, they were awarded the Davy Medal from Britain and the Nobel Prize in Physics in 1903. First woman to be awarded the Nobel Prize. And then only 3 years later, she would go on to lose her husband in an accident. And all of this is according to biographyonline.net. I'll pull this one up. So, and let's see what we got. Hello to you as well, Peter Parker. So I'm going to pull this up. And I think her story is also important because a lot of women today even struggle with balancing school and life and work. And so we have this woman who achieved so much and then even became a widow and continued in the field. Now, she was from Warsaw, Poland, but she was able to even continue in her field. And yeah, really fascinating. So I would encourage you all to do some more reading about not just her, but all of these folks that we're talking about today. It also talks about her activism streak, and she participated in the League of Nations. So fascinating person. So yeah, so definitely do some more on that. Hey Mel, welcome. And he says everyone struggles, and yeah, that is so right. But yet, we get locked into our own lives, and not only do we struggle, but it can lock us in to ourselves and keep us from achieving. And that's one of the things that I'm hoping to help people look at life a little bit differently and realize that there are other people who overcame obstacles. So I think we can look at them and say, okay, now this person overcame, pick a challenge. What can we learn from how they got through it that we can apply to our own lives, and how might that give us strength and courage so that we can move forward? And I think that's why several people, after we did the first segment on this, messaged me and sent me emails saying how much they liked it and that they wanted to see another one. So here we are. And anytime you all have a suggestion, or if there's someone you want me to look at, just let me know, okay? You can either toss those in the comment section or email me, Gayle, Gayle, at GayleCrabtree.com. So now let's talk for a minute about Harriet Tubman. Okay, we've all heard of Harriet Tubman. She was born in 1822 as a slave. She was one of several children. Unfortunately, 3 of her sisters were sold off when they were very, very young, and she had no idea what happened to them. But she later went on to escape slavery, and she became a leading figure in the abolitionist movement. She also served as a spy for the U.S. Army during the Civil War, and she fought for women's suffrage. So all of this are huge achievements. But here, we look at somebody who's overcoming slavery and she escaped. But Harriet didn't just escape one time from slavery. Okay. This lady escaped twice because the first time that she left and was able to escape, she went with her brothers. And they got worried about family and what was going to happen to them. So they made the decision to return to the plantation where they stayed for a while. But she felt the need to escape again, rightfully so. But here's what a lot of people don't know. Because of being owned by another person, she received a beating, and more than one beating. And during another time when she was out working in the fields or whatever, one of the other slaves there was a problem perceived by the owner or overseer, and he threw a stone aiming at the other slave, but it actually hit Harriet Tubman in the back of her head. Now, the reports are that this cracked her skull. She received a traumatic brain injury, and from that point on in her life, she suffered under massive headaches and epilepsy. So even while she came back and with her brothers, that happened afterwards. And I mean, even with that, she would have these epileptic fits. And that alone, okay, can cause someone to live a life locked in and of disability, because a lot of people still, even today, don't understand epilepsy and don't understand the impact of even a mild traumatic brain injury. That's something I struggle with, and I get things turned around and I use the wrong words, and life is really challenging sometimes. But when I have trouble, I look at the life that Harriet Tubman had, and I know for a fact that nobody today has a life that's as difficult as this, most likely, and take a lot of courage and a lot of inspiration from that, from her story. So here's a photo I'm going to share. Here we go. And there's a picture. Okay. And this says Harriet Tubman's on the far left, and she was at her home in Auburn, New York at this time that it was taken. So really important to look at that. And, trafficking has not stopped. Trafficking is still going on. We have modern day trafficking. And the lives from people who've been through that are so broken in so many ways. And, we can look at this knowledge and extrapolate a tiny percent of what life might have been like for her and multiply that from some of the other obstacles that we face, because we have some avenues of help for victims of human trafficking today, and modern medical care and interventions. Harriet didn't have any of that. But yet, wow, what a life. Yeah, Mel is saying, but the important thing is that you make it through. Absolutely. And Harriet is a great role model. Yes. And absolutely, yes, we must continue the fight against trafficking. And we need more resources and more support to help survivors put their lives together again. Certainly PTSD, injuries, brain injuries, you name it. And so I look at Harriet Tubman, and she didn't have these avenues of support. But yet she found a way. Now, can everybody find their ways through all this? No. But can everybody gain encouragement? I think so, you know. And there's one more that I wanted to talk about. And this person really, oh my gosh, this person finding out that he had struggles kind of blew me away, okay? Because we don't typically think of Leonardo da Vinci as having a learning disability. Like, are you kidding me? Leonardo da Vinci? Crazy, right? But would you believe he was dyslexic? And he had problems reading and writing and couldn't spell, had the dyslexia, but yet that may have forced him into art so that he could make a way for himself. I'm going to pull this up. This is on jefferson.edu, University News, pulling it up right now. And of course, he went on, he developed the flying machine. He really created lots of what we know now, the basis for that. So, and this says that researchers argue that his likely dyslexia may have contributed to his creativity. And we don't, who would think that? Who would think that somebody who has dyslexia could turn that around into a positive? But here's the other thing, too, that on this page that caught my attention, and that's why I'm showing it to you. A recent analysis of 6 portraits suggests that he might also have had misaligned eyes. That strabismus, and with that 3D vision, is possible. Most of us have 2D. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. So I would encourage you all to do some more reading about these famous folks and others. Yeah. And Mel saying to fight human trafficking, it takes a community. Yes, a worldwide community. And Mel says he believes it. So, yeah. So really, those are the 4 people that I wanted to bring to the forefront today. And really do hope that you study more about them. Marie Curie, Harriet Tubman, Leonardo da Vinci, and Hilary Swank. Neat people. So, thank you all for tuning in today. I hope you go on and have a wonderful day. And whatever obstacles are in your life, I hope you find a way that you can overcome them and lead productive and satisfying lives. Because life is out there. Let's go grab it. Thank you all for watching, and I'll see you on the next video, okay? Bye.